if you don't know me by now, hello, welcome. I am Rayna Erasmus. I am the program manager, and I am joined by our operations manager and former co-show secretary, Molly Hutchison, who is going to be helping me not lose my voice and help me monitor you all tonight, your questions and everything. So this is our final entry webinar. That is the process that opens up tomorrow, and I'll get more into that in a couple minutes, but we do have some housekeeping to take care of first. And I just want to let you all know that the Q&A chat should be open. If someone wants to go ahead and test that, that's the Q&A, not the chat. The chat should be disabled, ideally. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, please put them in the Q&A chat, and we will get to them as we can. We'll stop for questions right before, thank you, Jen. We will stop for questions right before we actually get into the form, and then we will have questions at the end. So we are not ignoring you. If you guys put your Q&A, your questions in the Q&A, just wait until we get to our next question session, and we will make sure to answer any questions you might have. So that is what I'm going to start with. We will also be going over clinics. Clinics open tomorrow too, along with the final entry form. We're super excited about that. We've made some changes from last year, which was the first year doing clinics, and we're super excited to be offering graduate spots in the clinic. So excellent way to fill up your trailer, bring some friends with their makeover grads, or bring a makeover grad yourself and just maximize the time of your time at the Kentucky Horse Park. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Molly for a minute. And Molly, let me know if you need me to share my screen or if you need screen sharing privileges.
Yep, I'll send you a request in just a minute. So as you guys have been abundantly reminded, and we will continue to abundantly remind you, microchips are required for all horses coming to compete at the makeover, and you will need to be putting your microchip ID number on your final entry form. So now is the time to make sure that you have that information and not just, oh, his microchip number is on his Coggins, so I'm good. You need to make sure that that microchip number is actually scanning, because your horses will be scanned during their arrival exam. So if you have that number already, great. Make sure the chip still scans, everything is all good, and that number is the same, and then you can go ahead and report it on your final entry form. If for any reason you're having any issues, this is kind of like you're in the 11th hour here. It's time to figure that out, and we're happy to help you do so. Um, there's a couple things to figure out to know what you need to do if you are having issues, and that's what I'm gonna go over super quickly. And that's to determine if your horse has a microchip registered. If not, it's as simple as having one implanted and registering it to the Jockey Club. Some people have had questions on how do I know if my horse has a chip registered to them? So I'm going to share my screen real quick, if I may. Wonderful. We'll see where we're at. You guys are going to see the rule book for a second here, but that's not what we're going to look at. We're going to head over to the Jockey Club. Can you see Jockey Club, Rayna? Wonderful. So this is the Jockey Club registry. I am in a free account right now, so you guys can access this by making a free account. It won't cost you anything. If you need to submit any reports or anything, or any corrected forms, that will cost you a bit of money. But if you are just checking to see if your horse has a microchip, you can come to Jockey Club Registry. This is what it will look like. You'll log into an account that you've created, and under other forms, you can find microchip lookup. So Rayna has generously allowed us to search her horse, Bourbon and Beer, and he is a 2013. And we know already that Bourbon and Beer does not have a microchip. So when we go to say report a microchip, this is what we're going to have. So this is telling me that I can report a microchip. This horse does not already have a microchip reported. If it did, the Jockey Club would not allow you to double report. This is important so that if you go to double report one, it will stop you from doing so. If for whatever reason your horse has a microchip, it's not scanning anymore, but you know that there's one already reported to it, that will create some additional steps that we need to assist in contacting the Jockey Club registrar, and we are happy to do that, but we need to know about it now because it does take some time for a corrections report to be submitted. We're going to go ahead and we'll do one more real quick. This horse we know does have a microchip, so it will tell you this horse has already been assigned a microchip number. Easy as that. So I will go ahead and stop sharing. There we go. So it's simple as that to determine if your horse does or does not have a microchip. If your horse does, you're able to see that your horse does have a microchip registered to them, but you cannot find it in a scanner. You've tried your vet scanner, you tried your friend's scanner, you've scanned them head to tail, you've checked their nose because a lot of North American horses that are maybe from Canada can have it in their upper lip. No chip to be found. Maybe it's migrated, maybe it's gone bad, Lord knows. If you cannot find the chip, it is likely that you will need to have a second one implanted and a corrections form will need to be submitted. Please reach out. We're happy to help you do that. It can be a little bit tricky to communicate with the Jockey Club to get that done, and we're happy to interface with them on your behalf to get that accomplished. So, that is microchips. Let us know if you need any help. We would hate for anyone to be at the makeover at their arrival exam and have the inability to have a microchip scan be what sends them home. That would be terrible.
Can I add briefly that what Molly just showed you, if you are not scanning your horse and finding a microchip, I need that step to be the first thing you do before you think about implanting a second one. And if you have your horse's microchip number, but you haven't actually scanned your horse to find the chip yet, do not take that as a sign that your horse has a microchip or that you will be able to find the microchip. Before you fill out your final entry form, I need you to take a scanner to your horse, find that chip, and look it up in the Jockey Club registry and make sure it matches what they have there. A lot of people will be like, well, it was on my horse's papers, so I know he's chipped. That's great. Is the chip readable? Is it scannable? And that's what can cause a lot of issues at the final at the arrival exam. So take Molly's word and advice. Whatever you do, like scan your horse now, make sure you can find the chip, make sure it is registered. If it is not registered and the horse doesn't already have one, get it registered. If it's not registered and your horse does have a chip, but you can't find the registered chip, it's time to contact us ASAP so we can help you get that squared away. It's not something that needs to send you home from the makeover. So just get on top of it. You don't even need to have your vet out to scan your horse. You can order them off of Amazon for 20 bucks. So I'm off of my soapbox now, but Molly's had to deal with the corrections forms a few times, and it just adds stress to you all that you don't need to deal with if that happens later on in the year. So let's just get that taken care of now. And Molly, I will let you continue.
So for some less stressful reminders, we do have the volunteer form live now, so please sign up for some volunteer shifts. We will absolutely work around your ride times, you guys. So if you're able and willing to sign up for a shift here and there, or there's something that you're interested in doing, go ahead and sign up for something now. You can check that you're a competitor. You can add a note that you think you're going to be doing this discipline, or if you sign up after you completed your final entry form, you can tell us what discipline you'll be competing in on the volunteer sign up. But we have 20% store discount at the makeover for our volunteers, along with a complimentary volunteer hat and t-shirt, and of course, snacks and lunch for our all-day volunteers. Bring your kids, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your moms, your dads, whoever is able and willing to help. We have a job for everyone, and we cannot make the makeover happen without our wonderful volunteers. We run off volunteers. We are so grateful for any amount of help we can get. So please get in there and be a part of what makes the makeover great. Next reminder is silent auction. So if you yourself or you know of someone who might have a donation item for the silent auction, our silent auction donation form is also live online. So you are able to donate an item It can either be picked up if it's local to Kentucky at some point, or it can also be sent to our office, and you can fill out the form online to give us all the necessary information. And I will hand it back to Rayna.
All right, my turn to yap again. Let me cross some things off my list here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and give you guys a quick reminder about the Make the Makeover campaign. So if you are participating as an individual entry or a team captain and you've not already set up a Give Lively Make the Makeover campaign, I highly suggest that you do. This is a great way to, one, raise money for us and support our mission, but also to get back some of your registration fees that you paid in the beginning of the year, and potentially earn some really cool prizes. So essentially the way that it works is you set up an individual fundraising campaign through Give Lively. There will be a link to this in tomorrow's email, as well as all of your previous trainer newsletters. So those are all posted in the portal. You'll create a fundraising campaign here, and you are trying to raise $1,000 or more. If you reach that $1,000 mark, you will get a $350 refund. So that covers that application fee and horse registration fee. We will write you a check. We will give you store credit. We will convert it to a donation, whatever you want to do. But that is money that you can get back in your bank account, which we know is always super helpful. And not only that, but we have an amazing first place prize of a zero turn mower that is a $10,000 value. That is from Equine Equipment. So we're super, super grateful to have that as the first place winner. So top fundraiser is going to get a zero turn this year. Second place is going to get a Hero Pico PEMF machine from Magnus Magnetica. So also very grateful for that. And our third highest fundraiser is going to receive $500 of cold hard cash from us, the Retired Racehorse Project. So highly recommend that you jump on that if you haven't already. You have until October 9th to fundraise those $1,000, but obviously start now, have small, consistent goals. Once you sign up for this, you will receive an email with a lot of tips and tricks on how to reach that $1,000 goal. And I'm just going to show you right now, it is possible. We right here have 9 people that have already reached that goal and some that have surpassed it by quite a bit. So it's super fun, a great way to raise money for the organization, a great way to earn back some entry fees yourself. And the next thing I'm going to go over, let's see here, is the Makeover Marketplace. Some of your horses might be for sale or for adoption, not required, but certainly allowed. And we have a particular a specialty listing service for those that are competing in the 2025 Thoroughbred Makeover, and that is the Thoroughbred Makeover Makeover Marketplace. Signups for that will be a part of the final entry form, and then there's a separate form once you say, yes, I would like to opt into this, that I will show you as well. But this is a great way to get your makeover horses in front of an audience that's searching for horses that have the experience of going to the makeover, because as we know, going to the makeover increases a horse's value. You're getting them out in a big environment. They've put in the 10 months or however long it's been to be able to do what's being asked of them at the makeover. So they really are in demand, and they will be in their own separate print catalog as well as in their own listing service on our website. So this is different from just doing a general sale listing on our website. This is exclusive to those 2025 competing horses. You can learn more about it here on the rule book. And we have 2 different listing options. There's a $50 standard listing option that's online and in the print catalog. There's a social media album. There's also a $60 featured listing option that has everything as the standard listing plus priority listing in the digital catalog, which means when someone's looking at your listings on our website, they're going to be one of the first listings that they see. So that is the Makeover Marketplace, and that is a great way to get your horse sold or adopted if that is something that you are trying to do. All right, and next we are going to go over clinics. I'm personally very, very excited about this. So clinics are returning for 2025. Those of you that participated last year will know that we offered a small amount of clinics for the first time in that format in a ever, and we did clinics several years before. So on Friday, the day after preliminary competition ends and the day before the championship competition, we will be offering clinics in competitive trail, dressage, show hunters, and show jumpers. And what's super exciting is not only is it open to our 2025 competing horses, it's open to all Thoroughbred Makeover graduate horses. The graduate spots are very limited. All clinic spots are limited. They're all first come, first serve. But those graduate spots are especially limited. So if you have a graduate horse that you want to participate in a clinic with, make sure you get your horse's clinic registration in tomorrow. Registrations will be open essentially the same period as final entry open and final entry edits close. So that's August 5th, tomorrow, through September 5th. But again, it's first come, first serve. So these will likely fill pretty quickly. We have a limited number of spots. And there will be a wait list kept if we do fill all of the spots. So you can learn more about the clinics here on our general event information page. So if you go to therrp.org, Thoroughbred Makeover, attend general event information, you'll see all of that here. I go over all the different clinics we're offering, what you can expect, how much they'll cost. And let's see here. I keep forgetting to say this. The clinicians are going to be our judges. So those that are judging the discipline that you enter in as a clinic, they will be judging that discipline at the Thoroughbred Makeover this year. So it's a really great way. Let's say you don't have a round, the best round, and you want to get back in front of that judge and get some direct feedback from them, work on something on the course that you struggled on, you're going to be able to do that on Friday. So it's a really great way to end your week on a positive note. Or let's say you didn't feel like your horse was quite ready to do the show hunters. You're like just starting to jump 2-6 courses. So you're opting to just do flat only disciplines at the makeover. This is a great way to jump and get some feedback from those that would have been judging you at the makeover. At the makeover, jump all over the same scary fill that you would have if you were competing in that discipline. So again, just a great educational opportunity for yourself and those horses, and for our alumni that maybe makeover, they're ready to do it now, great opportunity to come back. Or if you just are wanting to experience a bit of the makeover environment again with your graduate, again, a great way to do that and get some educational experience out of it. So you can take a look at this page later, read a bit more about the different clinic formats and the requirements, but that is clinics. And I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. And I'm going to quickly tell you all that we did announce who our recipients are, or we notified our recipients of the 2025 ASPCA Right Horse Scholarship. And we were able to give that scholarship to every single horse that was acquired from a right horse partner. So if you did not receive an email notification, but you believe you did adopt your horse from a right horse partner, please check your spam. If it's not in your spam, please send me an email and let's make sure that we covered all the horses that we needed to cover and that everyone's getting their scholarship funding. And if you did receive that scholarship, you redeem that scholarship via the final entry process. That will be covering your first stall and your first discipline. So thank you to ASPCA for the 2024 Reimagining Racers Grant for that. We're super, super excited to be able to offer scholarships to you all this year. All right. And now moving on to what we actually came here for tonight, which is the final entry form. So what is the final entry form, most importantly? I know I've gotten several emails from you all throughout the year. There's always a little bit of confusion of, hey, I need to change my discipline. Well, good news is you haven't selected your disciplines yet. That all starts happening tomorrow. Each horse can be entered in up to 2 disciplines. As you all know, we have 10. I'm not going to list them all out right now. But that is the main part of final entry, is selecting your disciplines and your stabling. So this is where you reserve your horse stalls, your tack stalls, or you tell us that you're not stabling at the horse park at all. And let's see, this is where you opt in to whether or not you're listing your horse in the marketplace. So those are the 3 main things that you're going to have on the final entry form, plus some data collection that we use on that form. I'm going to open up the whole form and go through it with you guys step by step in just a little bit. Once you hit submit on that final entry form, there's 2 other optional steps. If you opt into the marketplace, that's when you're then going to go in and actually do your marketplace listing form. And if you want to register for a clinic, that is a separate form in itself as well. So those are your secondary steps to the final entry form, plus actually paying for those fees. Molly's going to go over final entry refunds here in a second. But the actual fee payment is due by 5 p.m. On August 29th. So the form opens tomorrow at 10 a.m. So please don't hop on here at midnight or 8 a.m. expecting to have access to the form. That happens every year. 10 a.m. That makes sure that we all get some time in the office to make sure everything's working appropriately. We'll get that up for you. And that's when the clinic form is going to launch and when the final entry form is going to launch. So that opens tomorrow at 10 a.m. and it closes August 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Keep that in mind. I know some of you are on the West Coast, different time zones. It's 5 p.m. Eastern on August 29th. If you do not submit the form by then, if you do not pay your fees by August 29th at 5 p.m., your entry will be withdrawn. You will not be able to compete. So please keep that in mind. We will send reminders, but a lot of the times people don't check their emails or their text messages bounce back. So don't rely on that. Just remember, the sooner you can get it in, the better. But you have until August 29th at 5 p.m. After that, if you haven't gotten your final entry form in, you haven't paid those fees, your entry will be withdrawn. So make sure you don't miss that. After August 29th, you have until September 5th to make a couple edits to that form. That's going to be adding whether or not you want to opt into the marketplace. That's going to be adding additional stalls, not taking them away. That's going to be changing your jump heights. So if you didn't notice, I did not say changing your discipline. Once you submit your form, your discipline selection is final. So if you need a little bit more time to think about it, while I don't suggest waiting until the very last minute, you have until August 29th to think about that. And I really started pushing this with you all last year to think critically about what your horse is realistically ready to compete in October. It seems like it's a long way away. It's not. And all it takes is a couple weeks of this crazy heat we've been having to keep your horse out of work, where you're not going to be able to meet those milestones you wanted to meet in order to compete in, let's say, show hunters. So I would like for you all to sit back and think about what your horse is capable of training-wise, mentally, physically, of competing in today, and what is realistic in terms of the progress you can make between now and October. If your horse isn't jumping yet, it's probably not a good idea to sign up for a jumping discipline. If your horse isn't schooling the pattern successfully yet, maybe it's time to look at doing some Western dressage, doing freestyle. We have other discipline options where you can really think about meeting your horse where they're at. Because what does happen every year is I get someone emailing me in September saying, hey, I signed up for show hunters, show jumpers, eventers, whatever it was, and my horse isn't ready. We're not ready to compete in jumpers. Can I please switch to freestyle? Can I please switch to dressage? And unfortunately, at that point, discipline selections are final. We're underway with ride times, and I can't switch your discipline. Our entries lists have been printed and published. So once you hit that submit button on your final entry form, your discipline selection is final. The only thing you can do is withdraw from a discipline. You cannot change that discipline. So please, please, please keep that in mind. And just aim to set realistic goals. The makeover is just the beginning. So just because you don't compete in show hunters at the makeover doesn't mean your horse isn't a show hunter or that your horse won't ever compete in show hunters. They just were not ready to compete in October, and that's fine. These horses are in their first year of retraining, and everyone's going to be on a different timeline. Some of you have had more setbacks from others, be it abscesses, soft tissue injuries, you never know, like personal stuff going on that's kept you out of the saddle, whatever it might be. There's no shame in competing in a discipline that was not the one that you originally set out to do. And it's also a great way to explore new disciplines. We offer 10 of them. You might find a new discipline that you really enjoy. So please keep that in mind. You're welcome to email me anytime and discuss the different disciplines. If you have any questions, it's a great use of the trainer group of like, hey, this is where my horse is at right now. I'm thinking of trying this discipline. I don't know much about it. Talk to your peers, get some insight, and just remember to put yourself and your horse first. We want you guys to be safe. We want you guys to be positive breed ambassadors. And I'm going to step off that soapbox now because I could keep going on. So we just discussed what final entry edits are open, and that's pretty much everything except for changing your discipline. And that's adding things. If you need to take away stalls, you're going to need to email me to do that manually. That is until September 5th. Again, going to be at 5 p.m. All of our deadlines are at 5 p.m. Clinic registration form also open until September 5th at 5 p.m. All right. And with that, Molly, if you could go over the final entry form refund schedule.
I would be delighted. Before I do that, I'm going to answer a couple old questions before we get too far away from them. Real quick, there was a microchip reader question. What is the scanner called off Amazon to make sure you order the right one? There's not a specific brand that I can recommend, but it does need to be an ISO 11785 compliant microchip reader. I will make sure that we get that posted somewhere within this next week as well, but I'm also going to type that answer out
And I believe
for
we do
everyone.
have one. I linked one that would work in the most recent trainer newsletter. So if you go
Perfect.
to the bulletin in the portal and look at what would have that been, July trainer newsletter, there is a link to a
Yes.
microchip reader in there.
Yeah, but the Jockey Club microchips can only be read by ISO 11785 compliant microchip readers. So as long as it's one of those, you should be all good. And then someone had a question about where to find the information about fundraising for Make the Makeover.
That is also going to be in pretty much every single previous trainer newsletter. So if you go, let me share my screen and I will show you guys how to access that. Let's see here. Okay. And can you see my portal dashboard?
Yep.
Okay, so if you go to therp.org, my account, hit this Thoroughbred Makeover tab over here. This is the trainer portal. This button right here that says trainer newsletters. That is going to take you to all of our previous newsletters that have gone out this year. So I'm going to hit the July one. And I'm going to show you guys. We're going to pass that. Got a little bit about final entry. So here's microchips that we talked about. I believe I had one linked in here. I did not. Okay, well, I will post one. Uh, I, I will post an eligible reader in the group, and I will send that out in tomorrow's newsletter as well. But as terms of Make the Makeover, here it is: save $350 on makeover fees, fundraise with Make the Makeover. This is going to show you where to set that up. Some of our previous newsletters have a bit more information on that, but that is where you can go find some of that information.
Wonderful. And then the last one that I will answer right now is Katie asked if we can see our horse's microchip number on Equibase to make sure it matches the one that she has on paper. Katie, you will not be able to see it on Equibase. It's kind of like your social security number, so you're not going to be able to just search it up. What you can do though is go to the Jockey Club Interactive Registry, where I was before. If you scroll down further on that page, if you have a number and you just want to make sure that there wasn't, any transposed digits there, you can type in the number at the bottom of that form. It's the microchip lookup section, and you will be able to type in the number and see if it pops up with your horse's information, the name, date of birth, dam, everything. So that will be the easiest way to do that. And if you have any questions or run into any trouble, you can always ask us. Great. And now I will go ahead and do the refund schedule. Arguably some of the most important information that you guys need to know. So all of this is found on page 12 of the rulebook, and I am reading it directly from page 12 of the rulebook. So that is where you will find it. This is important. You need to know this information if you are looking for a refund. We do not deviate from page 12 of the rulebook. Yes, Rayna.
Will you share your screen so that they can visualize it
Certainly.
while you talk about it?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Let me send my request again. right. Are we seeing page 12 of the rule book? Wonderful. Okay, so as we can see, refunds are not given automatically. If you guys are in a situation where you need to request a refund, you will go into your trainer portal. You will already have withdrawn your horse. You're able to do it's very comprehensive. If you have any questions, of course, always ask us. You will withdraw your entry and then you will reach out to us at secretary@therrp.org to request a refund. If we do not receive a request, there will not be a refund. We are not checking these, we are not manually issuing them without a request. None of it is automatic. Request must be received by 5 p.m. on the corresponding deadline for each of these marked deadlines below. While we often are not working 9 to 5, we are often working outside of those hours. We like to pretend that we are not working after 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, our deadlines are always 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This adheres to that rule. So, you will go into your trainer portal, you will withdraw your entry. Hope we will wish you well, hope all is well, hope, nothing bad has happened. But should this happen, go ahead into your trainer portal, withdraw your entry, email us, tell us that you're requesting a refund. And this is the schedule for that to happen. Marketplace fees will be refunded if the horse is withdrawn from the marketplace prior to August 29th. They are non-refundable after August 29th, 2025. That is because the service has already been provided. Clinic fees are refundable minus a $15 processing fee if withdrawn prior to September 5th, 2025. They are non-refundable after September 5th, unless the spot can be filled from a wait list or the horse or rider has qualified for the championships. So if you're a rider that was signed up for clinics and then you end up getting pulled for discipline champs, have no fear, you will not have to still pay your clinic fees and not be able to compete in them. Which brings up a great point. If you are in discipline champs and signed up for clinics, you cannot compete in your discipline champs. They are with the judges. That would not be fair. So that will not happen. Sorry to say. But it will not cost you anything. 100% of your stabling and discipline fees are refundable if it is prior to September 5th. 100% of stabling fees and discipline fees minus the $75 processing fee per horse are refundable after September 5th and prior to when stall assignments and ride times are published. We approximate that this is 10 days prior to the start of competition. That is not a hard and fast rule. We can pray that we get this done a little bit sooner, but 10 days out is our approximate. No refunds on stabling or discipline fees will be considered after ride times and stall assignments are published. So if that happens further out than 10 days prior to competition, there will be no refund. Um, you can imagine that stabling and ride times for a show like this are quite the puzzle for us to figure out. It is a lot of work, it is a lot of time. Refunds are not considered after that is completed. The refund schedule, of course, does not apply to the registration fees. This is for final entry only. Registration fees are non-refundable, but of course, we are always happy to send people tax receipts. So if you've missed your refund schedule window, or if you would like a tax receipt for your registration fees, we are more than happy to do that. If you have any questions at any point, or if you need to request a refund, you email secretary@therrp.
Thank you, Molly.
Absolutely.
All right. So before I get into a couple specifics about the different disciplines we offer, I'm going to quickly answer a couple of these questions. So we'll get into this a little bit more, but someone asked, do you have to have your final entry registration completed to reserve your spot in the clinics or the disciplines? So you do not have to have your final entry form completed in order to reserve your spot in the clinic. Those are two separate forms, and you can do those forms in whichever order you want. You can sign up for clinics first, or you can do your final entry form first. If you think you're going to wait a little bit longer on deciding which discipline you actually want to compete in, which you'll do on the final entry form, but you definitely want to participate in a clinic, do your clinic form first, do it now, reserve that spot. Know that you must pay your clinic fees in order to reserve that spot. It says on the form that if you don't pay your fees by 5 p.m. the day that you submit that form, you'll essentially be put on the wait list automatically. So you can do your clinic form first, get that spot reserved. You cannot reserve your spot in a competitive discipline, like actually competing in a discipline at the makeover without doing your final entry form and paying those fees. The final entry form is where you reserve your spot in the actual competition portion of the event. And then we have, will the schedule follow the same format as previous years, or will there be any changes? If you mean the overall schedule of the event, it's generally going to be pretty similar. We will have a move-in day on Monday, and Molly's going to talk a little bit more about when that starts in a little bit. But move-in day will be on Monday, move-in along with arrival exams, move-in and ticketed schooling and arrival exams will all happen on Tuesday. We will have preliminary competition on Wednesday and Thursday. So this means that you have to be like your horse has to be on property at some point on Tuesday to check in and complete the arrival exam before 5 p.m. So just keep that in mind for those of you that are, taking off work and doing all of that. You will need to plan to set at least, if you're local, at least set some time aside on Tuesday. If not, you're gonna have to plan that you are off work completely on Tuesday. Your horse has to be at the Kentucky Horse Park well before, I think it's like actually 4 p.m. We'll get into that later in the year. Wednesday and Thursday, preliminary competition. That's mostly going to follow the same schedule as it has in previous years. Friday is going to be our clinics. That's also going to be our championship jogs and arena familiarization for those that are that qualify for the championships. And then the schedule is doing a pretty dramatic change on Saturday. Instead of the top 5 all competing in the covered arena in our previous finale format, the top 10 from every discipline are going to compete mostly in their original venues from prelim competition, kind of staggered throughout the day on Saturday. So not everyone in the covered arena and double the horses. So lots of fun. We will have a more exact schedule out once we get ride times and stabling done and we have a better idea of what discipline selections are looking like. So I can't give you an exact schedule now, but that is the overall schedule. A lot of it's going to be the same as previous years. And as for where can we find detailed information on clinics, having trouble finding it in the portal. So it's not in the portal, it's on our website. I will share my screen and show you how to access that again. So if you're on the website, you are going to go to Thoroughbred Makeover. I don't want to do here. Thoroughbred Makeover, attend, general event information. Scroll down, hit this clinics tab, and pretty much everything you need to know is here, plus some more on the actual form, and we'll be looking at that in a little bit. And then similarly, we have, is there an overall schedule for the RRP event somewhere? Like what days and times? That is also similarly here. Right now, it's kind of under construction, so there's not much here, but it is October 8th through 11th, and I just kind of broke down the schedule for you guys a little bit, but there will be a preliminary schedule eventually added to the menu here. So hopefully that answers all of those questions for now. And I'm going to move on to some discipline information. And I'm going to give a big disclaimer here. The Thoroughbred Makeover disciplines are not run like the traditional disciplines in traditional competition. This is a young horse retraining competition, and the purpose is to kind of set a level playing field and also to be able to provide judging, scoring, feedback on every single horse, even if you're participating in an event that would normally be just purely speed based. So please keep that in mind, and whatever discipline you're thinking of entering in, come over here to the handy dandy rulebook, scroll down over in the index. We have the discipline competition formats. Look at every single one before you decide to enter it. We even have copies of the score sheets themselves, so you can see how they are scored, what it's going to look like. But for some examples of how we vary from the traditional in barrel racing, you have to do a judged flat pattern. So we call it the horsemanship pattern. It's just like a dressage test, but not. You will see what that flat pattern is here in the rule book. So keep that in mind. There's a flat pattern and then two standard timed runs. So that is definitely different from your standard barrel racing competition. In dressage, we offer an English USEF training level test, and we offer a Western dressage basic level test. So you can either do English dressage or Western dressage. Keep in mind following the equipment rules for both. That is phase one. Phase two is what we call the demonstration ride. A lot of people seem to forget that this is a thing that we do, but it is a required portion of the dressage competition. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's essentially a freestyle without any music. We tell you what you need to show at some point in your routine. The dressage judge doesn't know what your routine looks like ahead of time, so you have X amount of minutes. Sorry, I don't have it memorized at this very moment, but it's in the rule book. You have X amount of minutes in the dressage ring to show off those movements and show off whatever else you want. Look at the rule book, see how it's scored, see how we recommend that you do that. But essentially, go in and show off what your horse is best at. There's so many different threads in the group about the best way to go about the demonstration ride, but all I can say is like, don't panic. Have a plan, but not too firm of a plan, so that if your horse walks into the arena and he's not having his best day, you can come up with it on the fly and do whatever is not going to set your horse off. So remember your demonstration ride. Eventing, we've changed the eventing format to be more of a two-phase young event horse format this year. That's something we used to do in years past, and we are going back to it. So that means you're going to do your eventing dressage test, and regardless of whether or not you choose beginner novice or novice height, everyone is doing the same dressage test. That is novice test B. After your dressage, later on in the day, you're going to be doing a combined like stadium and cross country test. So that's all going to be out in the cross country field. Going to start off with some stadium questions and then move into some cross country questions. Again, more information on that in the rule book. But keep that in mind that it is no longer a three-phase horse trial. It is just two phases. Field hunters. Field hunters requires that you have field hunting experience. This is not something to try out for the first time at the makeover. There are hounds. You are out riding in company. So this is not for someone that's just looking to try a new discipline on the fly. It does require that you provide a field hunt recommendation letter. Information about what is required in that letter is also found in the rule book, so please take a look at that. And freestyle, keep in mind that we do not offer prop storage. You are responsible for storing your own props, be that in a tack stall that you rent, be that in your own trailer, be that somewhere off-site. You cannot store them anywhere near the covered arena or anywhere that is not a spot that you are paying for. For liability purposes, for all kinds of purposes, we will not store your props for you, and you are responsible for providing your own props. And also keep in mind that no children under the age of 12 can participate in your routine. We follow the same age limit as we use for our actual applications themselves. Keep in mind that disruptive props need to be reported ahead of time. We're going to look at that on the final entry form here in a few minutes. Polo. Polo also does require that you have polo experience. You're swinging around a mallet. We don't want you to be doing that for the first time ever at the Kentucky Horse Park. So if you are interested in competing in polo at the makeover and you didn't originally apply to compete in polo, I'm going to need you to email me some videos of you either practicing some stick and ball work or you actually in a chucker. So send that over to me so we can get your polo restriction lifted if you're interested in competing in polo. We would love to have you. Ranch work. Ranch work has cows in the preliminary competition and in the championship competition. So if your horse is really good at obstacle work but has never seen a cow in their life, probably a good idea to gear more towards competitive trail than ranch work. Keep that in mind. The preliminary competition for ranch work, that's really just going to be passing through a round pen of cows. There's no sorting or anything happening in prelim competition, but you could skip that obstacle entirely. However, if your horse has never seen cows before, just being in the same arena as a round pen full of cattle might cause some issues. So keep that in mind with your discipline selection. There are no cows in competitive trail unless something has gone very wrong and a cow has gotten loose. So competitive trail might be the way for you to go if your horse is not so good about the cows. Or if you just want to show off your obstacle work, competitive trail is awesome. Show jumping is a little bit different from previous years. We have taken away the gymnastic phase, so it is now 3 phases instead of 4 phases. You will have your flat pattern, and then jumping round 1 and jumping round 2. This also means now that teams who only have one person on their team that doesn't have a jumping restriction, this is now friendly for you guys to enter into. It wasn't in previous years. You can have the person with the jumping restriction do the flat pattern, and then you can have the person who does not have the jumping restriction do the 2 jumping phases. And with that, that does remind me that every single one of these disciplines has a team format. If you are entered in it as a team, that doesn't mean that one person can do one discipline and one person can do another discipline. If your horse is entered as a team, you have to follow the team format for each discipline that the horse is entered in. So again, that's all in the rule book. You come to discipline competition formats. Let's show barrel racing, for example. I'm going to scroll down here on the barrel racing format, and right here is the team format. Team horses must be presented by at least 2 trainers. A different trainer may represent the horse in the horsemanship pattern and each of the timed runs. And then one person will present the horse in the actual championship competition. So please keep that in mind. And also for the final entry form, the team captain is responsible for all paperwork. The team captain is going to be the only one that has access to that final entry form. But please keep that in mind. If you are registered as a team, there is no splitting that like I'm going to do show hunters and you're going to do dressage. Nope. If the horse is entered in show hunters and dressage, you have to share both disciplines. So please keep that in mind. Let's see. And I think that that is all for now, Molly, unless I'm forgetting something about our disciplines and how they are different from other shows. If I am not, I'm going to pass it back over to you for health docs and stabling.
Thank you, got it all. We will start off with health documents. I know you guys have heard this one before. Alrighty, you guys will need Coggins health certificate and EHV1 vaccine, proof of negative Coggins within 12 months. Your health certificate will need to be within 30 days for out-of-state horses and within 12 months for in-state horses. Your EHV1 vaccine records must reflect vaccine administration no more than 6 months out and no fewer than 14 days prior to arrival at the Kentucky Horse Park. Let me pull up my screen for you guys. For this year, that would be between April 6th and September 22nd. Every horse is required to meet these health requirements. So non-compete horses, horses coming to compete in clinics, and anyone coming in and out will need to meet these requirements. It is a hard and fast rule. Again, this is a rule from the Kentucky Horse Park. This is a rule because of Kentucky State Agriculture. We will not be able to be lenient on this at all. If a horse comes in and does not have the appropriate proof for their like EHV1 vaccine or their Coggins, obviously many of you all understand horse show health document rules. You will not be able to compete. You'll be put in a quarantine barn. It's a huge hullabaloo. Nothing fun. Nothing you want to deal with. All of that documentation will be checked. When you are checked in, all of it should be in your portal. Should it not be in your portal, it will need to get into your portal. It is always a good idea to have either digital or physical copies of that on you while you are there, just in case. But all of that should be in your trainer portal ahead of time. You will be able to upload that during your final entry form for each horse. Acceptable forms of proof for your EHV1 are listed here. They include your bill or receipt with the vet practice name, contact info, date, and horse's name, indicating your EHV1 administration. So on your vet's letterhead, hopefully. Practice letterhead signed and dated, certifying administration, or the name and vaccine type noted by your veterinarian on the signed health certificate or import documents. These are the only three forms of acceptable proof. We cannot take proof in the form of a Tractor Supply or like Rural King receipt. If you administered a vaccine yourself and you only have that type of receipt as a form of proof, that will not suffice. So you will need to determine another form of proof to meet these requirements. Um, if you have any questions about that, reach out. Make sure you have this information in your portal. Make sure you are within the appropriate dates, which again, April 6th through September 22nd. If your horse is within those dates, don't vaccinate them again. They should again no fewer than 14 days out, so don't give them another EHV1 after September 22nd. And everything else I think is pretty cut and dry. Anything else to add before we move on to some stabling?
I think just very quickly, the Coggins is very easy, but we do always get some confusion over the health certificates. So it says in-state versus out-of-state. It is super, super simple. If your horse lives within the state of Kentucky and is traveling to the horse park from the state of Kentucky, you just need a health certificate that was issued by your vet within the last 12 months. If your horse is living outside of the state of Kentucky, is traveling to the horse park from outside of the state of Kentucky, you need a health certificate issued from your vet within 30 days of your scheduled arrival to the horse park. And you will also want to make sure that that health certificate is valid for when you're traveling back. We are really going to be checking to make sure it is valid when you get there, but you want it to be valid when you leave too, so that you don't have any issues crossing any state lines. But it's really just that
Very good
simple.
point.
There's not two health certificates. Each horse only needs one, and they are either in state or they are out of state, and that is all.
For anyone that might not travel often as well, the health certificate is not a form that's special to us. That's not something that we provide you. Your vet has that. That is something that your vet will be completely familiar with. So, as Raina said, like timing wise, that's a common point of confusion. But also, the health certificate comes from your vet. They will be super familiar. So, if you tell your vet, my horse will need a health certificate on X date for travel for October, they will know what you're talking about. They will have the form. You don't need to print out anything for them to do or anything like that. They will have that form for you. So, all good. Alrighty, this should be stabling. Perfect. Okay. So, before we do this, this is kind of the easy bit of stabling. You are not welcome on Horse Park grounds for our event before noon on Monday. Please do not come to the horse park for our event before noon on Monday. We love you guys. We're so excited to see you. We do not want to see your beautiful smiling faces until afternoon on Monday. That is Monday, October 8th, Raina?
October 6th.
October 6th?
Yes,
Don't listen
the
to
8th
me.
is the Wednesday, is the
Thank
start
you.
of preliminary competition.
October 6th. So Monday, October 6th, you guys are welcome to come move in anytime after noon. So that does not mean come, set up your stall, keep your horse on the trailer or wandering around on the property, and then put your horse in the stall at 12:01. No, please don't. We don't want to be charged for a stall for a day because your horse was in a stall 20 minutes before it was supposed to be. Please come and set up your stall and post up at your stall no earlier than noon. We beg, we plead, we thank you. If there's any issue or you have any questions, circle the lot, find a layup. If you're having traveling concerns and you need to talk it out with us, we are happy to do so. Um, it is not pleasant to have people showing up there earlier, and that's not fair on KHP organizers. It's not fair on us. We have times for a reason. That's because that's when the stalls are ours. So we really need you guys to please adhere to those rules so that we do not get caught with a KHP bill bigger than the one that we are anticipating. Thank you very much. Along those lines, KHP says you guys got to get out by 8 a.m. that Sunday, the 12th. Thank you, Rayna. So, Sunday, 8 a.m. on October 12th, you guys have to be vacated. They turn those stalls over real fast. You don't have to clean your stalls. You can leave the mess behind. Please take all of your belongings. Please take your horse. But you can leave all of the mess. You can leave all of the manure. They will come through. They will clean. Um, but you got to be out of there at 8 a.m. They do a really quick turnaround for the next, I think there's jumper show series ahead of us and likely one after us. So you will need to vacate the premises rather quickly after that. Um, Aside from that, stabling supplies, golf cart, and round pen rental. Deaver is the Kentucky Horse Park contracted vendor for golf cart and round pen rental. You guys have likely found out by now that round pen rental is hard to come by. So at this point, if you are in need of a round pen, find a friend. They are likely all purchased up. So find a friend that has already rented a round pen, see if you can rent some hours here and there. You are all wonderful, lovely, sharing kind people that if anyone has a round pen, they're usually super happy to parse it out with other trainers that are around them to ensure that all horses that need round pen time get round pen time. You are also able to hack around so much of the park and hand graze around so much of the park. There's a limited amount of space that you are not able to go into like competition spaces. Aside from that, the grounds are yours to, wander and meander. So that will hopefully do. If you are staying on the property, and of course, if you're shipping in, you're still welcome to hack. You are responsible yourselves for making reservations directly with Deaver. You don't make those with us, you don't make those with KHP. We do not get your shavings for you. So you will call the number listed here for your reservations. Deaver also offers feed, stabling supplies if you want to get that through them. There's also a tractor supply down the road and other options along your way that might be a little bit more economical. So keep that in mind. You are also welcome to bring your own golf carts, e-bikes, dirt bikes, four-wheelers. Just keep in mind the KHP speed limits and keep in mind the pathway limits, as well as do not put anyone 16 years younger than 16 years of age on any motorized vehicles and let them loose. Um, if you have any questions about layups or places you can stay or where to buy supplies, feel free to ask your friends in the group. If you have any more specific questions or aren't finding answers, feel free to ask us. But again, Deaver for round pen, golf cart, stabling supplies, they will deliver to your stall, so that is a perk. Anything else, Rayna?
Nope, I think that about covers it. So
Perfect.
that is stabling. All
Perfect.
right. Brief question break, and then I'm finally going to open up that final entry form and show you guys how to fill it out.
Ooh.
Okay, so for eventing, even though beginner, novice, and novice do the same dressage test, are they judged separately overall, or is it there two different divisions being judged? No. So for any discipline, this includes dressage that has Western dressage and English dressage. This includes show hunters that has 2, 6, and 3 foot. Show jumpers that has a bunch of different heights in meters, and my little American brain can still not comprehend the metric system. So every single discipline is every entrant in that discipline are judged together. We do have some special awards for juniors, amateurs, and teams, but at the end of the day, there is going to be one final placing. That's regardless of your jump height, and that's regardless of your test choice. We have arranged it all so that that doesn't matter in terms of, someone's going to score better because they are doing Western dressage over English dressage, or someone's going to score better because they chose 3 foot over 2, 6. It's not like that. So everyone is judged against one another, if that makes sense. I hate using the word against. You guys really aren't competing against each other. I know you are, but you're not. we all love each other here, right? That's in my brain anyway. So to answer that question, no, they are not judged separately. Beginner, novice, and novice are judged together. And we have a similar question asking if jump heights have their own placings. They do not. Were you just talking about the show hunter that the jumping and the flat can be split? One person jump, one person flat. So yes, for show hunters, if you are on a team, there are 2 over fences rounds and an under saddle. That is the format, team or not team. But if you are on a team, you can have one person do the under saddle phase and the other person or people do the 2 over fences rounds. So that is certainly possible to have someone not jump at all if you're on a team and competing in show hunters. Just to clarify, we are able to bring our own shavings, correct? Yes, you can bring your own shavings, your own hay, anything you'd like from home. That is other thing too. Stalls are on concrete. We will get into all this much closer to the event, but stalls are on concrete. Most people like to bed very deep. Keep that in mind. Everyone has their own special ways that they like to bed their stalls at the Kentucky Horse Park. Very much a personal choice. And they're bare bones, so you're going to need to bring like bucket hangers and all that kind of stuff. These are just bare bone stalls. You got a floor and a door. Just think about it that way. But yes, you can bring hay, shavings, whatever you want to from home. And there's plenty of places to purchase it. You can have Deaver bring it straight to your stall, and there's Tractor Supply and other places you can purchase it in the area. So, all right, without further ado, I am going to finally move on to the actual final entry form. So if I am here in the trainer portal, and as a reminder, the way to get to the trainer portal is by going to therp.org, hitting the My Account button up here in the top right corner, and then hitting this Thoroughbred Makeover tab on the left-hand side. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to see this button that says Complete My Final Entry, and I'm going to hit it. All right, and so what I'm going to do first and foremost is check that my personal information is correct. That is indeed my first name, my last name, my email, and my phone number. If you see that any of this is not correct, you might want to change it in account details. If that doesn't fix it, send us an email. We'll get that fixed for you. But this is how we're going to reach you. So if you don't check this email, if you don't receive text messages at this phone number, update that, because we might need to contact you about something, and it's really important that we're able to reach you. The next fun thing is the trainer bio. So it's not guaranteed that we'll announce things that are in this bio, but if you have some fun facts either about yourself or your horse that you would like to be announced, this is where to put that. We are going to have your horse's racing and breeding statistics. You don't need to share that. You don't necessarily need to share like what state you live in, what state your horse lives in. We kind of have all of that. But if you want to share something really special about their journey, maybe they're still owned by Racing Connections and you want to give them a shout out. Maybe your horse has a really funny quirk that you want them to announce, whatever it might be. Maybe you have a special story about how you acquired the horse. Anything like that that you think would be fun to share, that's where you're going to put that. It's not a required field, and we don't guarantee that we will say the things that are here, especially when you think about some of the faster paced disciplines. The announcer doesn't have a ton of time to say a lot of things. But again, this is a celebration of the breed, and it's a celebration of their first career and their second or even third career if they're a former broodmare. So tell us their story, tell us your story, whatever it might be, and we will try our best to announce it. All right. The first step here, and if you have multiple horses, which you're going to see here on this form, I do, it's going to do each horse separately. You're going to go through the process one horse at a time, minus stabling. That all gets done at the end. So this is my first horse here. It's an individual entry. This is the training history portion. Please fill this out as accurately as possible. At the end of the day, part of our mission is to have super accurate data on these horses. And if you guys don't report data to us accurately, we don't have accurate data. So this is just, you're not going to get punished for any of the answers that you have here. Just be honest. We're trying to really gauge how much experience these horses on average have going into the makeover. But no one's judging you. We know some are going to have less experience than others. That's just how it works. So this one's just asking, can you estimate for us how many rides your horse has had up until this point. So that means the day that you fill out this final entry form, how many rides has your horse had? Let's go for this one. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm growing greater than 120. Then you have how many off-site shows, clinics, or schooling opportunities has this horse had at this point? So how many times have you gotten them off property? Is it none, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, more than 10? Make your selection. How many of those opportunities included stabling your horse elsewhere overnight? Again, you're going to have the same list of options. Then we want to know, did you experience any events that caused a significant setback in your training plans? I'm sure most of you have, because horses and humans, and there are always setbacks. So if you answer no, congratulations, I want to be you. But if you answer yes, welcome to the club. We want to know how much training time you believe you lost cumulatively. Again, we have a couple different options here. And then why? What are the different things? A lot of you might fall under the feet category, abscesses, corrective farrier work. There's a lot of stuff over here. Pick whatever applies to you, right? I'm going to say feet and laceration. Then we want to know, on average, how much money do you spend per month in preparation for the makeover on this horse? So what's your monthly expenses for keeping your horse here? That's going to include board and feed and all the regular routine stuff, vet care, farrier work, and then on top of that, lessons, shows, whatever. What is your average cost per month for your makeover horse? This is probably, depending on where you live, kind of generous, unfortunately, but I'm going to go 1,200. Now, for those of you that receive the Right Horse Scholarship, you should get a selection of questions. This is super important. Again, this scholarship opportunity is funded via grant. So please answer these questions as honestly as possible. This is going to help us figure out how to pivot the grant moving forward, with fingers crossed that we receive the grant funding again to continue this program in next year. And again, your answers to these questions really, really help make that happen. So we're asking, how much of an impact did the scholarship have on your decision to adopt your horse from a right horse partner in the first place? Did you not really care at all? Did you not even know about it at the time of adoption? So it couldn't have had an impact because you were unaware. Did it kind of swayed you from purchasing a horse from the right horse partner? Or is that the main reason that you decided to go with a right horse partner as your source for your eligible horse? I'm going to say little old me didn't even know about it at the time of the adoption. And then the next question is, how much of an impact did the scholarship have in your decision to apply for the Thoroughbred Makeover? Again, maybe, you know what, you were like, the scholarship, whatever, I was going to apply regardless. Maybe, again, you did not know about the scholarship when you applied for the makeover, and that was a fun little bonus that you learned about later on. Maybe you were like, you know what, yeah, it's swaying me a little bit towards applying for the makeover. It was there. Or maybe learning about the scholarship is really the reason that you decided to submit that makeover application. So go ahead and answer that openly and honestly. I'm going to say, it had a little bit of an impact. If the scholarship were to be offered in future years, how would it impact your decision to adopt a horse from a right horse partner? So if we have the scholarship again next year, would that influence your decision? Would that sway you towards adopting a horse from a right horse partner again? Or not really, no impact, very little impact. I'm just going to acquire a horse however I would acquire a horse. Maybe this is, not related to you. You are one and done. You do have no intentions of acquiring another horse in the near future. Maybe this is like, yeah, I'm probably, if I decide to do the makeover again, I'm going to peruse those right horse listings first. That's the first place I'm going to look, see if I can find my right horse. And maybe that again is going to the main, it's going to be your main reason. It's going to have a very significant impact. You are in fact going to be shopping exclusively from a right horse partner, and you will be adopting a horse from a right horse partner if and only if we have this scholarship available. So you're going to answer those questions. Past the scholarship, we are at the makeover marketplace, which we talked about before. This is where you're going to simply indicate, yes, I do want to list my horse in the marketplace. No, I don't. Or I only want to list my horse in the marketplace. I want to list this horse for sale, but unfortunately, I will not actually be competing my horse at the makeover. So we do have that lovely option for those of you that would like to get your horse out in front of people in this exclusive sale listing, but have decided for one reason or another that you will not be competing in any disciplines at the makeover. So we have those three options for you. I'm going to say, yes, I do want to list my horse in the marketplace. He is for sale. And I'm going to say I want a featured listing. So you're going to select, if you do include in marketplace or marketplace only, you're going to get either featured or standard, and you're going to make that selection here. Now we are at the big and bad discipline selection option. So I've got all 5 of my disciplines here. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit how this works for some of our disciplines that have a couple different options. So 1, if you are limited non-jumping, you will only see barrel racing, competitive trail, dressage, freestyle, polo, and ranch work. Eventing, field hunters, show hunters, and show jumpers will not be options for you. So if I want to do dressage, I have the option of doing the USCF training level test or the Western Dressage basic level test. You're going to make your choice here. This is, again, something that you won't be able to change the dressage up here, but you will be able to change the test selection up until September 5th. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm doing training level test 1. A couple of the other ones that have selections on top of them. Again, eventing. Am I doing beginner novice or novice? Don't think field hunters has any options, right? Yep, that's just one height across the board. If you're doing freestyle, again, you're going to provide us some information about any props you might be using, what the general gist of your routine is going to be, so that we know if there are any potentially disruptive props. Pyrotechnics, smoke, explosives of any type, all strictly prohibited, as well as individuals under the age of 12. They can watch you and cheer you on from the stands, but they cannot be in the arena with you. And we will go over in more detail closer to the event that anyone that is in the arena with you must have a wristband on, indicating that they have signed our waiver. So, show hunters, you're going to have the options of 2, 6, and 3 foot. Show jumpers, height options of 0.80, 0.90, and 1 meter. And I actually think I need to adjust that a little bit because I think we have a height range for each one in the rule book versus that. That will be updated by tomorrow. All right. So I'm going to say I'm doing show hunters, and I'm going to say 3 foot. Those are my 2 discipline selections. Now I need to have a microchip number. This has to be a 15-digit number. If you have not yet entered your horse's microchip number in our system, you're not going to be able to submit this form until you do. Make sure that's the correct number. This is not real, so I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Select your saddle pad type. When you get to check-in at the makeover, we are very hopefully going to be gifting you a saddle pad, and the options are all-purpose, a dressage saddle pad, or a Western saddle blanket. So make your choice here. It is not per horse. It is per horse. Sorry. So what saddle pad do you want for this specific horse? I'm going to say all-purpose. Again, this is not where you have to upload your health documents, but you're here. If your horse is already vaccinated for EHV1 and you already have the correct Coggins, you might as well upload them now. If not, it's still accessible in the portal via the drop-down menu in the actions column in your My Entries table. The health certificate, unless you are coming from within the state of Kentucky, it's going to be too soon for you to upload your health certificate. But if you are traveling within the state of Kentucky and you have that, again, you're here, might as well upload them now. All right, so that is horse number 1. Moving on to horse number 2. That is my team entry. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select some random ones here. We've already kind of been through this. But I'm making sure I'm filling out every required field. Sale status. I'm not going to include this one in the marketplace. I want to keep him forever. All right, discipline selections. Again, this is a team. So to show you guys a little bit about how the teams work, barrel racing, give it a minute, let it load. Aha, I have all three phases. And I have myself, Jen, and Molly on my team. I'm doing the horsemanship pattern. I don't want to go fast. I'm making Jen and Molly go fast. So they're doing run 1 and run 2. Again, if you need to change this, we can do that for you after you've submitted it. I don't believe that's something that you can do yourself, but if you email me, we're happy to make those changes. But at the end of the day, if you're entered as a team, no matter what, at least 2 people need to be represented across these 3 phases. That goes for every single discipline. Some of these disciplines only have 2 phases, so 2 different riders. Some of them have 3. You can have up to 3. But there is no world in which, look, I'll even show you. If I try to make myself do every single phase, oh, please select another team member. Team horses must be represented by different team members. All right, they're back to doing the speed portion of the event. Discipline number 2. Let's see, what do we want to choose? We're going to do ranch work. My team is a little bit more Western than my individual entry. So we have the ranch riding pattern and the ranch trail, and I'm making Jen and Molly do both. I'm sitting the ranch portion out because the horse isn't afraid of cows, but I am. That's not true. I love cows. All right. Okay. And we can see here that Campos Joy's microchip number is already here. I entered it in the system, and here it is. Beautiful. Saddle pad type. We're going Western. We've already talked about uploading your health certificates. We're not going to go over that again. Now we are at the stabling reservation portion. So again, this is going to be a reminder for you that if you are not going to be on the stable grounds by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, October 7th, I need to know right away. Arrival exams are done by that point. Check-in is closed by that point. We're going to have to make special arrangements for you, which we can do, but only if you tell us far in advance. Would not recommend doing this. We'll get into it later, but that means you're missing all of your arena familiarization opportunities. If it were me, I'm going to tell you all, and again, this is just a guesstimation. If you end up saying, hey, I'm going to come on Monday and you arrive on Tuesday, or you say I'm going to arrive on Tuesday, but you arrive on Monday, that's okay. We're just looking to kind of figure out what we can expect when people are going to arrive. Now, if it's me, if I'm competing in the makeover, I am pulling in that horse park entrance gate at noon on Monday because I want to get my horse settled. I want to get check-in done. I want to get my arrival exam done. And then I want to hack around the horse park a little bit, explore my surroundings. And then first thing Tuesday morning, I'm cashing in those schooling tickets when the rings are nice and quiet. And that's personal preference. All right. So how many horse stalls do I need? Well, I have 2 horses. And I'm actually going to bring a buddy for one of my horses. So I'm going to say that I have 3 horses. I need 3 horse stalls, I should say. And so the rates for stalls are $255 per stall for the whole week. So that's not per day. That is from noon on Monday to 8 a.m. on Sunday. We have a special partial week option only for alumni clinic participants, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But for the sake of the final entry form, your only option is the full week. So if you're not stabling on the horse park grounds at all, if you will just be shipping in every day and you're going to be working off your trailer in the day trailer parking section, that's going to cost you $60 flat for the week. That's not per horse. That's $60 per trailer. So stalls are not required. But even if you might be shipping in every day, but you want a stall to kind of, keep your horse in while you're at the horse park, so you don't have to leave them in or tied to your trailer, you can get 1 stall as well. But if you're just strictly working off your trailer, we're not going to charge you for a stall. You're going to change that to 0, and all the other questions are going to disappear. But again, I'm bringing 3 horses, and I want a tack stall. We'll go over more tack stall stuff again closer to, but what I will sum it up as is drop trailer parking is very, very, very far away from stabling. So it is very difficult to get to and from your trailer with your saddle, your bridle, any of your other stuff that you might need throughout the week. If you're planning on storing that all in your trailer, you can. I wouldn't recommend it. Even with a golf cart, it is quite the hike. So we have tack stalls. They're going to cost you the same as a horse stall. That's $255 for the week. One way to economize here, you probably don't need a full stall for one horse. So talk to some friends, see who wants to split a tack stall with you. You can split it several different ways if you want. Only one person is going to put that on their final entry form. So you're going to nominate, let's say I've got my team with me, Jen, and Molly, and I'm going to say, hey, guys, I'm the tack stall person. I'm going to put it on my final entry form. You guys don't need to put it on your final entry form. But what I am going to say is it's asking me to please list who I'm sharing the tack stall with. And I'm going to say Molly Hutchison and Jennifer Crowell. And I'm going to use full names because there's going to be other Mollys and Jens. So please give us their full names. Now, where I don't want multiple full names is the stabling request. So if you want a stabling group, so I want to like share my tack stall with Molly and Jen, but I also want my horses to be stabled with Molly and Jen. And I also want them to be stabled with Kristen and Kirsten and all my other buddies and Megan. We are going to come up with one stabling group name. So I'm not going to sit here and list out Molly Hutchison, Jennifer Crowell, Kristen Bentley. I'm not going to do that. One stabling group name. We're going to say, hey, what kind of fun name do we want to come up with? And we're not fun. So we're just going to do Team RRP. And every single person in your stabling group is going to put the same name. So whether that's Team RRP or Bestie Gals, whatever that group name might be, everyone's going to type the same exact thing in this box so that we can stable you guys together. Now, if you've got a stabling group of 20 stalls, probably not going to happen. Keep this group strictly to those that you are going to be traveling with and sharing tack stalls with. Pretty please. Now, if you have a couple friends and you want to stable together, but that's still only going to be a stabling group of 3 to 5 stalls, that's fine. But no out of control groups that are like super large and you guys aren't even on the same trailer. You're not even sharing tack stalls. The horse park is big, but it's not that big. And this is a great way to make new friends. So please keep this to those that you are sharing tack stalls with or traveling with or otherwise need to be in close proximity with for one reason or another. All right, now we're at the non-compete horse section. For those of you that might be taking a horse to the clinic, a graduate horse, I should specify, you can either, again, do this portion first, or you can do the clinic registration form first, whichever one you prefer. But what you don't want to do is double up on stalls. We've kind of set it up so that you shouldn't be able to do that, but just keeping that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and say that third horse I'm bringing, it's not a makeover graduate. It's not one I'm taking to the clinics. It's just a random companion horse to keep my buddies comfortable. And we're going to say his name is Bourbon because that is my horse's name. He is a gelding. And no, he is not a makeover graduate. Again, I'm going to upload his health stuff here. There is another spot to do it if you don't do it here. Bourbon is going to have to meet all the same health requirements, same Coggins requirements, same health certificate requirements, same vaccination record requirements as my makeover horse. Please keep that in mind. For every non-compete horse you bring, whether they're simply a companion horse or they are attending the graduate clinics, you will be assessed a $20 grounds fee. So that is per non-compete horse. That is less than it was in previous years. We actually haven't updated the rule book yet. So in the rule book, I think it says that it's $50 per horse. So you're welcome. We have actually lowered that price. But again, this is where you're going to add any companion horses you're bringing. And now I'm going to take a look at my final entry fees. I know, and make sure that everything looks correct here before I hit submit. I do in fact have one featured listing in the marketplace. I am entering both of my horses in a first discipline. So I see that that is 2. My total is 300 because it's 150 per first discipline. Again, second discipline, I've got 2 of those, $100 per second discipline, $200 in total. 3 horse stalls at $255 a piece, one tack stall at $255, no shipping fees, and one grounds fee for that non-compete horse. Everything looks great. I'm happy with my discipline selections. I'm hitting submit. It says it's been successfully submitted, and then I'm going to receive an email copy shortly. I'm going to hit OK. And I am going to be directed to checkout. All right, and I'm not going to check out because we're doing this for funsies. But here we can see this is where please don't submit your final entry form until you're ready to pay these fees. It's just going to make everyone's lives easier, but you can come back to it later if you must. But complete the checkout process. I'm not going to do that because we are just testing all of this for all of your knowledge. I'm going to go back to the portal. And remember how I listed that one horse of mine in the Makeover marketplace? I'm going to show you how to find that. So I'm here in the portal. I'm under my entries. I find the horse that I selected a marketplace listing for. This drop-down menu next to the horse's name, not next to the entry, next to the horse's name that says update/create horse listing. I'm going to hit go. And I'm not going to go through all of this with you all. We actually have a separate video on it. But just to give you the quick rundown, once I get to this form, listing type, I'm going to select marketplace. Well, it doesn't want to let me select marketplace, but I would be selecting marketplace. And you will go ahead and fill out that form there. So before I move on to the clinics, once you've submitted that final entry form, if you don't immediately go to checkout, here's your pay final entry fees button right here. And on top of it is update my final entry. Again, that's only where you can update what, like your listing, your marketplace listing status, add more stalls, change your tests and discipline heights, but you can't change your discipline. So that's where you can find how to make those edits as well. All right, so now we're going to move on to clinic registration, and I'm almost done, guys. So if you've got any questions, start putting them in the chat now, and I can go over those in a minute. So let me do that again. It lets me go back. All right. So over here under Makeover Clinics, you're going to see this new clinic registration button. Click on that. Read the rules and expectations about when that is, refund policy, how all of that works. I'm not going to go over that right now. You all are going to read that in depth before you submit this clinic form. Again, you're going to tell us who the rider is. You can actually change this if you are not the person riding the horse. So that's fun. If you have an owner that you want to have ride the horse, again, contact us, make sure that they've filled out a waiver, make sure they're 12 or older. But this is where you can change that if you would like. So again, but confirm rider name, email, phone number, all correct. Now you're going to tell us which horse. I'm doing this with retrenchment. So that is my horse selection. Now, if you're bringing a grad, when you go to Thoroughbred, you should see your current horse and all your graduate horses. If you are just a lovely, lovely pupil that is not even entered in the makeover this year, but has a grad that you want to do a clinic with, you will just see a list of your makeover graduates here. If the horse that you want to do a clinic with that is a graduate is not showing up on this list, you're going to want to contact us so we can get that fixed for you. So I've selected the horse that I'm doing a clinic with. Now I have my discipline selection. So this is what type of clinic I want to compete in. Is it going to be a competitive trail clinic, a dressage clinic, a show hunter clinic, a show jumper clinic? This is a pretty straightforward form, so I'm going to show you guys all of them. If I select competitive trail, I have the option of doing the group obstacle guided schoolings or the group clinic. And if it's waitlisted, just like you see there, it will say waitlisted. And each horse and rider can only do one discipline clinic, so choose wisely. If I want to do dressage, there's one option. It's the mini lesson slash fix-a-test. And this fix-a-test selection, don't overthink it. This is just, it's 30 minutes in the ring to do whatever you want. But if you think you're going to want to utilize it as a fix-a-test, we'll try to have the correct test there for the judge to fill out. Again, you can change your mind on this. You cannot do a fix-a-test at all. You can treat it as a mini private lesson. That's the beauty of this dressage option. But you're going to go ahead and select from there what you want to do. And if you're someone that maybe wants to do a different test entirely, I'd select just choosing the demonstration ride option. Now I'm going to go back up here. All right, show hunter. I've got one option. It's the group clinic. Show jumper, one option, group clinic. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I want to introduce my horse to some obstacles. We've never done obstacles together. So I'm going to do the introduction to competitive trail clinic. That's this group clinic here. You'll see more information on that clinic page I showed you guys earlier. That's what I'm selecting. It's going to waitlist me, but I'm feeling confident tonight. All right, so stabling reservations. In this case, I can't select anything. And that's because I already reserved the stabling for this horse on my on my final entry form. Now, if you are doing this for a graduate, you're going to have three options, right? As you would for any of these options. If you're not stabling on site at all, you're just going to pull your trailer up to day trailer parking, ride in the clinic, load back up, head home. That's great. $60 trailer in fee. If you don't really have a reason to come to the horse park with your graduate horse on Monday, you don't have to. We have two options. You can either come for the full week, so that's the standard $255 rate, and that gives you access to that stall starting at noon on Monday until 8 a.m. on Sunday. Or we have the partial week option, and that's not starting until noon on Thursday, the 9th. And again, you will still have that stall until 8 a.m. on Sunday. So the partial week option, that's going to be $130 instead of $255. Now, something important to note about the partial week option, again, only available to graduates. This is not available to 2025 horses because you have to be on the grounds far before Thursday. But for graduate horses only, if you select the partial week option, you cannot select a stabling group. If you're going to want to stable with your buddies that are participating in the 2025 makeover, or if you are someone who is participating in the 2025 makeover yourself and wants to bring a graduate along, if you want those horses to be stabled together, your horse has to be stabled. You have to select the full week option. Those that select the Thursday option, you're going to be in a completely separate barn, and those stalls will not be available before Thursday at noon. So keep that in mind. But there is the option to have a partial week at a reduced rate. So if you're doing an alumni clinic, you'll select that there. And similarly, I'm going to check. I've got my $100 clinic fee. That's right. I selected the group clinic for competitive trail. I don't have anything else. I don't have a grounds fee because this is not a non-compete horse. This is not an alumni horse. This is my 2025 makeover horse. I don't have any stabling fees because I already paid for all of that via my final entry form. I'm going to go ahead and say I understand that all clinic fees are due at the time of sign up. And I understand the refund policy. I understand the 70% minimum capacity policy. I'm checking all that off. Again, it says here in red, payment must be made by 5 p.m. the day that you submit your form to reserve your spot. Otherwise, you're going to be moved to the wait list. And then I'm hitting submit registration. Successfully submitted. You will receive a copy in your email shortly to confirm. You will now be redirected to the RP store to pay your clinic fees. Awesome. And there they are, $100. And I'm going to check out and pay those fees so that I can do the competitive trail clinic. And that was a lot. So those are the forms. Molly, do you feel like I missed anything?
I think you covered it all. I'll let you know if I think of anything.
All right.
They'll let you know if they think of anything. If ever anyone has questions, now is your time. And
Perfect. Okay. Yeah,
I can read them to you if you want to rapid fire here.
that would be great.
Can the clinic rider be changed at a later date? We're not sure yet who will be riding from our team.
Yes. Not too late, please. And I think you won't be able to change it yourself. Unlike the final entry form, there is no like update clinic registration form option. But if you email us and you want to change the rider, Yes, we can certainly make that happen for you.
With ride times, does that include the barrel pattern to Expo, or is that just open arena?
Barrel pattern to expo. I'm sorry. I don't, that is not lingo that I understand.
Translate a little bit for us here.
Yes, I will need a little bit more of a translation for that. I will say that there is an exact ride time for your horsemanship pattern. And in terms of run one and run two, the way that that works is we have an order of go. We have the time that the first rider is supposed to go, but other than that, we operate off of an order of go for the actual runs. And we'll do one order of go night one, and then we'll do a reverse of the order of go night two.
Sorry, we're illiterate. Does trainer polo handicap play any part in RRP, and if so, how so?
No. Also one that I'm not quite sure on the lingo on. I'm not a polo gal. But no. Unless I'm misunderstanding.
No. That's a no, and that can also be you can double check the polo format to confirm if
Yeah.
any of that plays any part. And if you have any specific questions about the polo format, please feel free to ask and we can confirm with judges and stewards as needed.
Yes. Brief rundown on the polo format is you're going to have a stick and ball portion where you show off all the four basic hits, I believe. Again, I'm sorry, my polo lingo is not there. And you'll have a short work pattern. Just like barrel racing, just like dressage, it's an exact pattern that you need to show off. So that's preliminary competition. It's stick and ball work and a short work pattern. So I don't think a handicap would play a role in either of those. And then for the championship format, it is a 3-on-3. Well, first you do the short work pattern again, and then the top six after that come back for a 3-on-3 chukker. And this is a green horse show. So at the end of the day, the rider is not really being judged. It's the horse. It's how they're reacting to you swinging the mallet and all that stuff. It's riding in traffic in the chukker. Um, Read the rule book, read the scorecards. That's going to explain it all for you. But the riders are not being judged. It is the horse. So
Our friend has clarified for us. A normal show will allow practicing the barrel pattern in the arena. We call those expo.
so that
So, what does ticketed schooling look like for barrel racers?
right. So we do have practice runs on Tuesday night, ticketed schooling. We have there's a couple different options. There's just no barrels in the arena earlier in the day, open schooling. You're going to use one of your two schooling tickets for that if you'd like to go in the covered arena and just get some arena familiarization. There's going to be other people in there. You're not going to be alone. Tuesday evening, exact schedule is to be announced, but you will have a dedicated time, does not require use of one of your two schooling tickets for you to do a practiced barrel run. And we do not do exact times for that. Again, it's just we have a start time and there's like an hour-long window. And essentially, you need to make sure you're there at some point in that hour-long window to get your run done.
Thank you for clarifying so that we can get that answered for you.
Yes, thank you.
Right. If we get two tickets for schooling, do we get a chance to school twice?
Yes, everyone gets two schooling tickets per horse. Not every arena is available for ticketed schooling. Like competitive trail, you are not allowed on the cross country's 3-day cross country field is what that venue is called. Your horse is not allowed within 100 feet of that venue at any point except for when you're actually doing your judged course or you're participating in the clinics. So that's not available for schooling ahead of time. Cross country fences and field hunters not available for schooling ahead of time. What is available for schooling, we will have a dedicated time in the covered arena with some obstacles. So our competitive trail people and our ranch work people can practice over a selection. Open schooling in the covered arena. So that's going to be for freestyle, for competitive, or for ranch work. Um, what am I missing? Freestyle ranch work barrels. I think that's everything that's in the covered arena for preliminary competition. Claiborne's going to be open for show jumpers to school. Show hunters will school in Stoneleigh. The Walnut and the arena that we use for eventing dressage. Those are available all for ticketed schooling. There's dedicated polo schooling time. You don't have to use a ticket for that, but that's only for polo people and polo people only. And there will be a very specific time on Wednesday for that. So you have 2 tickets and you can use those however you please. You can go to the same arena twice, or you can go to 2 different arenas. You can't buy more tickets. And you have to do that, like, for the most part, ticketed schooling is on Tuesday and Tuesday only. Again, doesn't require a ticket, but we do have polo schooling a different day. We do have the timed or the like practice runs for barrels. That's, a time slot, doesn't require a ticket. And then we also have prop schooling for freestyle, which will occur via sign up at check-in. You will get 10 minutes in the arena all by yourself. That occurs late on Tuesday night and late on Wednesday night. Each person can sign up once for that, and that also doesn't require a ticket. But overall, 2 tickets, use them how you please, and that is it. You can go to the same place twice. You can go to 2 different places. You can go into an arena that you're not actually competing in. If you're doing something like polo, and you might end up in the covered arena for the championship, it might be a good idea to get some schooling out of the way in there in the beginning of the week.
Perfect. And you covered this question somewhat, which is, are there separate warm-up ranks for each discipline, or are disciplines warming up together? Which,
It's a little bit of both. Um, so we have what we call the double warm up, which is where the hunters and the jumpers are going to have their warm up arena throughout the week. There is a warm up arena for dressage that is also often shared by some of our Western disciplines that are going in the covered arena. We're going to try to get our covered arena a more dedicated warm up space if we can. There's warm up space by the competitive trail. There is warm up space by cross country and field hunters. But you can expect to be doing some amount of sharing with other disciplines. We have plenty of warm up spaces, but we don't have 10 different warm up spaces. So that is that.
is there any way to see the current status of entries, numbers, or even names for each discipline, or is it only published after completed? So you guys won't be able to see that because final entry has not happened yet. Once final entry happened, what will they be able to see, Rayna?
They will be able to see who is entered in what. And we normally publish a like stats video that has the numbers for each discipline, but that is not going to happen until well after final entry closed. So you're not going to see that like as you go to enter your discipline, you're not going to see how many people are entered in competitive trail right now. None of that's going to happen until after final entry closes. But you will be able to see and sort the entry list by who is entered in what discipline once all of that is finalized.
The horsemanship pattern for barrels, is it the cloverleaf pattern going flat work?
It is a specified pattern that you have to follow. Again, you'll want to think of it like a dressage test. You'll have to look in the rule book for the exact pattern. I don't have it memorized, but it's not essentially just doing the cloverleaf pattern now.
So you can find that under the discipline format section of the rule book for barrel racing, and it will explain to you the flat work portion as well as how the timed runs work, and will also give you the scorecards. And if you have, again, any specific questions after going through that, we are always happy to answer questions, especially for anyone coming for the first time. So let's see. Select schooling times. So are there select schooling times for each discipline? So could you clarify like the timing of ticketed schooling?
So there is a schooling, if we are speaking specifically about ticketed schooling, which occurs on Tuesday, which is easier to refer to as either ticketed schooling or arena familiarization, there are windows of time is the easiest way that I can put it. We will be publishing a schooling schedule closer to the event, so you will know when each arena is open for ticketed schooling. And you will know when each warm-up arena is open generally. But in terms of Wednesday, Thursday, as long as prelim competition is open, the warm-up arenas are open. And we are not going to tell someone that, is competing in show jumpers on Wednesday that, they can't warm up in the dressage arena unless things are getting really busy. There's limited warm up spaces. Of course, there's also a giant, beautiful horse park for you to hack where, like, almost wherever you want. So you don't necessarily need to seclude yourself to a warm up arena. But in terms of open schooling, like warm up, there's the times of day in which those rings are open. And in terms of ticketed schooling, it's similar. There's windows of time in which ticketed schooling / arena familiarization is open. And each discipline for the most part has its own venue. So hopefully that makes sense that it's per ring, not necessarily per discipline.
Alrighty. And where do ship-ins park?
That's a good question. I do not know that off the top of my head, but I
I believe that
promise.
might be changing, so we'll
Yeah,
have
they
to.
they sometimes shuffle that around every
Yeah.
year, and we will get that information from the horse park
Yeah.
closer to. But do not be distressed. We will make sure you guys have all the information you need before you get to the horse park. We will have a
Including a
map.
venue map.
Yeah, we will have a venue map that shows where you need to park. We will have a schooling schedule that shows when every single venue is open for you to school in. All that good stuff, I promise. I know it gets a little scary, but you will have all the information you need.
Right. And do any disciplines fill up? Is there an urgency to completing the final entry form? That's a good
So,
question.
very good question. Short answer is yes, it has happened before. We will keep a wait list if that happens, and that's going to be based off of what you select as your second discipline. So whatever discipline you for sure want to compete in, put that as your first discipline. The other one that you would be less sad about being waitlisted for, put that as your second. But overall, I will say it is very, very, very rare that we have to keep a discipline waitlist. In recent years, the one that we've had to keep a waitlist for is dressage. That's pretty much always our most subscribed discipline. That is our biggest discipline. So we did have to keep one last year, which was the first time we had to do that in a really long time. But we were able to accommodate everybody on the waitlist via scratches and everything. We were able, everyone either got the opportunity to select a different discipline or stay on the wait list, and they were removed off the wait list and entered into dressage as scratches came in. So by the time we got to October, we were able to accommodate every single one of those people on that wait list. So I would say that there is an urgency, but not a ton. Get it done before August 29th at 5 p.m. Otherwise, you can't come at all. But don't like stress about selecting your discipline simply because you want to get a spot. It's really, really unlikely that we will have a discipline wait list, but I'm not going to say that we won't because we have before.
Right. That's it at the moment. Any
All
more
right.
questions? We're
Last
running up
call
on
for questions.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 hours. So last call for questions. Um, while I let you guys do your tippy tappies, if you have any questions to ask, if any questions come up, email us, secretary@therp.org. We are here to help you in any way that we can. Just please be patient with us. It does take us a while sometimes to get back to people, so please don't send multiple emails. Just be patient, and we will get back to you in the order in which we've received your email. Unless we have scheduled a phone call with you, calling the office is never going to be the best way to reach us. As you can see, I'm home right now. Molly's home right now. We're not always in the office. We get a ton of spam calls, so that thing is silenced so that it's not ringing off the hook all day for people that are not you guys. If you do call, leave a voicemail. But ideally, please email us. That's how we prefer to communicate. So we have written documentation of everything that we've said to you. If it's something super complicated and you email me, I will absolutely be like, yes, let's get on the phone. Let's figure it out. All right. Other than that, thank you, Katie. And I think that we are all set. So thank you all for joining us. It has been a long night. Hopefully, your brains have not melted from the overload of information. And email us if you have any questions. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.